Faces of Philanthropy is a series highlighting young philanthropists of color who give back and who do amazing work in their communities. Our goal is to debunk the stigma that you have to be of a certain social status to be a philanthropist, but you truly just have to have a heart for others. This is Faces of Philanthropy. So welcome to another episode of Faces of Philanthropy. Tonight we have philanthropist Briana Hicks. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Thanks for coming out. So Briana, you are like the ideal philanthropist in my mind, because when you think about when we think about philanthropy, we typically associate it with these old rich white people, and hopefully by now in this series we're like, no, that's not what philanthropy is or what philanthropy looks like. It's really young people, or anybody really, who has a heart for others. Yeah, why don't you start by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your work?
Yeah, sure. So it's phenomenal that you're doing this. I actually don't even consider myself a philanthropist, and exactly what you said, like, oh, rich white men is what I would consider a philanthropist. But when you get this message across that, you know, by doing small things for the community or just a cause that you're interested in general, you can be a philanthropist and you can make a huge impact, or small, and start the ball rolling.
Right.
My name is Briana, as you know, and you introduced, thank you. I am from the south suburbs of Chicago, but I had a friend who went to the University of Pittsburgh. I did go to the University of Pittsburgh, and we both graduated from pharmacy school at Pitt. So once we graduated, you know, we thought we should give back to either the pharmacy school or some type of way we should try to do something, because we've made it at least to a certain point that we've tried to attain and kind of achieve in our life. Throughout the years with the goal in mind. So we came to the idea that we would give back to our actual high school that we graduated from, which is in the Chicagoland, South Chicagoland area. And it was basically the concept of investing in the students who are at the point where we used to be. And hopefully when they get to where they want to be, they'll give back in exchange as well. And so we kind of implement that and try to ingrain that in our recipients, and it's been such a blessing to be able to be involved and do the work that we do.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I always admire people who see this community and see themselves in these communities. And so, as you know, we support people who start scholarship funds, and exactly what you said is that people, they identify themselves where they used to be 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and you're like, oh my gosh, if there was a me at that point, you know, who was there to help me either financially or kind of as a mentor, just the differences that would make. So would you talk about just what that process was like for you? So being in your 20s and saying, I want to start this scholarship fund, you know, where does the money come from? How do you identify the students?
Exactly. So that's a difficult thing to consider. You know, you just think, I want to give this money away. And you'll be surprised, people aren't that receptive to giving away free money. I feel like when free money is offered, I'd be eating it up. Right. But we basically comprise a group of individuals from the various classes that we graduated from in the high school. So 2007 to 2014, and had like the top ranking students of the class, and those who were very involved in the different activities to comprise a board that would basically judge the applications that we received. We also reached back to tenured teachers as well as retired teachers to have their involvement. So it was a difficult concept, but once you have the tools to kind of implement things and get the conversation going, I think things will work out. You just have to remember the reason why you started in the first place. Exactly. And so in getting the money, we actually had a blind donor who he wanted nothing but to donate to the cause, and then we also provided funds. But the goal was that in the future we'll have more input from the alumni, and this could be a community gathering where we're actually implementing and investing money and resources back into the students.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So this grassroots effort of, you know, raising funds for the students on their behalf. Awesome.
Exactly. And making it kind of easier to attain money, because I feel like when I was in high school, and trying to get a scholarship. There were a lot out there, but just being able to actually get the information to acquire them, and then looking at some of the smaller scholarships versus the Bill Gates scholarship, which seemed unachievable at the time. So I think that's important to just give varying resources for students.
And another thing that I heard you mention is that you're getting other people your age involved in the process. So you're creating other philanthropists, or even if they don't think of themselves as philanthropists, but they're engaged in this very, very philanthropic work of either dedicating their time to review the applications or advertise the scholarship, donate to the scholarship, what have you. You've really done a great job at just creating this movement. Like, no, you don't have to be dead to give a scholarship. That was another thing that came up a lot, you know, when people think about scholarships. It's like, well, why would I start one now?
Right, and then that's a good point too, because we were trying to figure out who would actually want to be involved. By the time we gave the first scholarship last year, we had people reaching out to us, and they were different alumni in different areas of their life. One guy, he's actually gonna be on a show pretty soon on TV, on television, and that kind of prompted him to want to start a career fair at the school and have alumni come back and give in that fashion. So I think once you get the ball rolling, other people will want to be involved, and you just have to know that there are people who support the cause as well and want to do the same type of things, but may not have the drive to initially get the ball rolling because of the difficulties that can come along with it.
Right, right. Very good. So, like, who inspired you to, you know, want to give back in this way?
There was actually this resource that we had in my high school where we had an ambassador who kind of sat at the school after school and taught us about scholarships that were available. And I remember her name was Mrs. High, and she was so great at giving us, I know, hey Mrs. High. She was so great at giving us information about scholarships, and I acquired so many little scholarships, a few big ones as well, but it was such a huge help that I thought about her, and that kind of inspired me to want to give back and make it vocal in the community. There are scholarships out there. You just have to be able to obtain them and have the resources to find them.
Right, right.
So I definitely think that I've reflected back on her. And actually, when I was starting the scholarship, I reached out to her to think about the best way that I could get it rolling. And she had great feedback and really advised us to kind of go through this school.
Right, right. Mentors are so important. And now you're being a mentor to your high school students and your college students, so wonderful. So what advice would you give to, you know, somebody who looks like me and you, maybe in their 20s, who has this idea to give back or want to give back to their school?
That's a good question. I think if you could just find someone, like one person or two people, doesn't matter. Even if you want to do the legwork by yourself, I think it's important to have people that will support you, because it can get tiring. And I think the work that you do with having the scholarship package is great, because I didn't even know about that. Even down to having the checks and certificates that you give the students, that can be something you don't think about. But I would give the advice to kind of find what the need is and find what your niche is and how you want to give back in that fold. And then who you can have supporting you to kind of uproot your cause and get it moving. Because different considerations, like you might have people who want to donate, but they might want a tax credit back, or they may want something more than just giving, and just being able to have the nonprofit resources to be able to give that back to them and have an incentive for more people, even if it just starts with one person.
Yep. We always encourage people to start manageable. So I think that people think that, you know, you have to give out a $10,000 scholarship, and it's just not realistic at this point, you know, but just get started. And I think that's something that we both have done and have been able to do a great job at, is just getting started and seeing it grow and hopefully inspiring our generation to give back in some manner like that. So kudos to you and your friend for having that vision and following through on it. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
I work at Highmark, and I am a non-traditional pharmacist, and I am a pharmacist, but I don't really have the direct patient care. I do the business side of pharmacy. So it's a very fun job, and I really enjoy what I do. What I like to do for fun, travel. I'm a travel kind of person, and I like to shop as well. But now that you've got this concept going, I like to throw on that I'm a philanthropist too, which is very empowering. And I hope others consider themselves to be philanthropists as well. Hi, my name is Briana. I'm a pharmacist. I'm a travel guru, and I love to eat, so I have to keep working out. And I'm a philanthropist.